Motor manufacturers are making new models increasingly difficult to steal, but the thief has simply changed tactics.
The modern car, last 2 or 3 years, very few are being stolen, which means, of course, that the thief, in order to get his same income, to maintain his income, he's having to possibly steal more cars of the older types.
Motoring organisations agree that older cars have become the main targets, easier to get into and drive away, and probably worth more broken up and sold for spares. So what advice can they offer drivers to help beat the thief?
Basically, to take sensible precautions, make sure that you use the aftermarket security devices that are available, and make sure that you park it and leave it somewhere secure, in a locked garage outside your house, and to be particularly wary of the car park, where something like 33% of car crime happens.
Indeed, the police, Home Office and the AA are now joining forces to step up car park security to try and make the country a safer place to park. Terry Lloyd, ITN.
Now, a few months ago, we reported on the case of Bimji Varsani. Aged 61, he'd been virtually blind since childhood. But now, thanks to an extraordinary operation, he's been able to see his grandchildren for the first time. Surgeons put a small lens into one of Mr. Varsani's teeth. Then they inserted it under his right eye. The result could mean hope for hundreds of other people without sight. Our health correspondent, Anya Sitharam, explains.
Hello. The moment Bimji Varsani has waited eagerly for, seeing his family again. Mr. Varsani has become the first man in Britain whose sight has been restored with the help of a tooth. The procedure has been such a success that he can now read the time from a small wristwatch.
10 past, nearly 10 past 3, isn't it?
He couldn't see anything for 2 years before the operation. The procedure was in 2 stages. The first last December to remove the tooth and a piece of jawbone. It was shaped to fit on the front of the eye and a plastic lens fitted. 2 weeks ago was the final stage of the operation to graft the tooth over Mr. Varsani's left eye. For 3 months it had been inside his cheek to allow tissue to grow over it. 5 days after the procedure, his surgeon had this verdict.
In terms of the eye chart, he could see halfway down the chart. And I was walking with him the other day, and he could see our faces for the first time, and he could see out of the window and could see the brickwork and the scaffolding.
Mr. Varsani can now see well enough to enjoy a day out at the seaside with the grandchildren. In 2 months' time, he should be able to read again. Doctors say hundreds of other patients could benefit from the technique of giving a tooth for an eye. Anya Sitharam, ITN.
Now, rugby and the